Hello. Okay, for this video, I know so many of you are invested in this quilt and I love it. I love it because you can stitch along with me. So I haven't been able to work too much on this, even though we're under the Snowmageddon deal or snowpocalypse, whatever you want to call it, and we're shut in for um, for the week. I've been doing a lot of cooking. We've been running out of bread and stuff like that. So I've been hand making bread and it's just a whole thing. Anyway, and husband's home. So more laundry, more cleaning, natural stuff. So anyway, okay. I think the last time you saw me working on these waves, very sporadic, stuff like that. And yes, I cut my nails super short, so don't pay attention. But my nails are thin and they snag on stuff. So anyway, I hope you can deal with it. And then I have this, I don't know what you would call it, but just something fun to do. And then I worked on this. So we're going to start another square here. I call it a square, another patch area, if I can get it. I'm trying to keep this all where you can see it because it's kind of hard to see. It's white on beige, but in person it really pops, but on camera it doesn't so much. So I wanted you to see how I go from one square to the other without cutting my thread. And as you probably know, I go in between the layers. So if you've been watching all my things, I go in between layers and I just make sure I can feel it on the back, make sure the needle's not poking through. And if it doesn't quite reach, I go in through the same hole and I keep traveling. And that just keeps me from starting and stopping the thread. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to look at this and kind of measure because I don't want it perfect. You know me. So I think I'm going to go start down here, but over just a little bit. Nope. Start down here because that's where this stopped. So I'm going to try to zoom out because I really don't want to get off camera here. Okay, it's zoomed out as much as possible. But anyway, that's kind of how I do it. So I kind of measure, okay, this and this, where's the common area? You know what I'm saying? Common angle. So, but I don't really, like I said, I don't use a pattern. I don't do, the measuring and all that so many people do. I just kind of work with it. So, and then what I'm going to do is this muslin has kind of as you can see, I could follow the weave, the little tiny weaves, but I have to do that real close because I'm very, very nearsighted, so I'd have to put it up to where you couldn't see it. So what I can do is just follow the natural grooves. Do you see that? That muslin has the natural wrinkle. And follow that just as close as possible. But again, I'm not worried about perfection here. I don't care if it goes crooked. I don't, that doesn't matter to me, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. There was a few more questions that I wanted to cover and everything, so I will go through that as well in this video. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about, you step back and you look at this and you think, what have I done? I should have done this or that or the other, especially with slow stitching. And one of the early stages of slow stitching, it's kind of like a drawing or a painting. You're thinking, okay, this is ugly, this is going to be awful, and you have to trust the process. You just keep going, and eventually you see that it's not ugly after all. It ends up beautiful. So it's kind of like putting on makeup. You first put it on and you put on a bunch of foundation, and your skin looks totally colorless. I mean, completely colorless. It looks nice and smooth and even, but it's colorless. So you add eyeshadow or blush or lipstick or something like that, and then it transforms into, something pretty. And so that's kind of like this. This is why you have to be, if you want to do slow stitching, you have to be super patient because it's a process. And the more you do, the further you get, the better it becomes. Or even like decorating for Christmas, you pull your tree out and it's just kind of plain and ugh. Then you put on the lights and you're like, okay, I can live with this. and then you put on ornaments or whatever, and then you're like, wow, this is gorgeous, it's magical, it's everything. So it's kind of the same thing, same idea, or decorating or whatever. It's the exact same idea. You just have to trust the process. So it's a slow process. This blanket is very, very slow, and that's okay because I can use that. I can sit here and do this running stitch and talk to you, and I can step back and look and see, okay, is it straight? Yeah, it's straight enough. So that is, if that helps, that's always what keeps me from starting projects or putting projects down and not going back to them, because I get impatient and I want immediate results. Well, you can't do that with slow living or slow stitching. You've got to be patient. So, and everything is fixable. So, if it doesn't look good, step back and fix it. It's so easy, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to think about it as, oh, I did all this work for nothing. I have to rip this all out and start all over again. Well, if you change the attitude with that and say, it's okay, I have to rip this out, I did all this work, but it wasn't for nothing because I was able to meditate during it, or still have time with my family as they sat and talked about their day or whatever. I sat here and stitched while they talked about it, and it was a wonderful thing. Or I watched a movie with my husband or whatever. It's it was part of your life, and that's okay. It wasn't a waste of your life. But anyway, where was I? I don't even remember what I was saying, but you get the point. I don't want to keep hashing out why I do slow stitching, but you get the idea. So, and then what else was it I wanted to say? I wanted to talk about. Anyway, if you trust the process, you get a good result. So, and oh, each area has its own personality. It's kind of like how do I choose? It's just whatever I feel during the day. So like, for instance, this thing, I'm going to do some vertical lines, and I may do some plaid looking lines over it. I don't know yet, but right now I'm doing this because I want to be able to focus on what I'm saying instead of focus on what I'm stitching. So when I'm talking to people, if I have visitors or stitching with friends or whatever, I choose the more simple patterns in my mind, or simple stitching, simple type stitches, anything that I don't have to sit and think about. I don't have to sit and think about this. I kind of guide my, kind of have a visual measure here of where I want this line to go, or how to keep it straight enough, or whatever. So every little section here tells a little story, so I can know that this section is probably when I was visiting somebody or talking to y'all, or whatever, So anyway, so that's that. And then what was the next thing? I have this all written down. Oh, yeah. Okay, stitches that I thought I would use more, but I don't. Let me get this here. Get my little, these are all my notes. Oh, I made this little, anyway, funny. Stitches that I made that I thought I would use more. I love the French knots, but I found I haven't used them at all in my quilts. And I could, I guess, but I would have to tack every little knot down, because if you do something with French knots, they could unravel over time. So I'll do one to show you what I mean here. So, and I'll just keep it here because that's just something that I will remember that I talked to you about, and it'll be something kind of random, and I like random in my quilts. So, okay, so we do a French knot, right? Well, over time, this could pull out like that, or, or something like that. So if you're going to do that, I would anchor it down. So I would come back up through here and anchor this down so it won't pull out. But anyway, I found that even though I love French knots, I don't really do them because, I guess because my thought is I don't want that to be uncomfortable as you snuggle with it, but it really wouldn't, because the other side is where you're, you know, what you're touching on your body. You're gonna do it on the back side, just like you wear your clothes. You know, you don't do your clothes from the outside where all the pretty stuff is. You wear it on the other side. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. See, now I can't even focus. But I like this. I'm going to do kind of like a Morse code type thing. I'll just keep this. See, and that's how this goes. That's what this quilt, this is what this type of quilting does for me. It just kind of, as I show something or demonstrate something, I think, oh, hey, that would be a cool pattern. And so I just kind of, it's kind of a go with the flow type thing. It's not anything. I guess it's just what I feel like doing at the time. And if I don't like it, I can rip it out and do something else. And that's okay too, because I am in no hurry. This isn't a gift for anybody, a birthday present or Christmas present for next year, or anything like that. It's just something for me. So, and another reason I don't really like to do French knots on this with this type of thread is because the knots aren't really as pretty as they are when I use embroidery floss. So, or at least I don't think they are. That one turned out okay. That one's not so decent. But see, once I anchor it down, it's not so pretty, I don't think. But that's my opinion. Okay, so as you can see, okay, here we go. My line's starting to go up a little bit. So I'm going to bring it back down. And instead of completely fixing this area, I'm just going to go with it. And the French knots will kind of hide that fact anyway. They'll kind of be a little bit higher. But, and see, I'm not going by my little guide here, but the only reason is, see how this guide forks up into this one, or it merges into that. You'll see what I'm saying? The little wrinkles. Anyway, I think that's what's throwing me off. So see, I'm going up already. So let me fix that. Let's go back down. But I'm not using a ruler or anything. I'm just kind of using my eyes. But I'm going to trust the process. And that goes back to trusting it again. I know it's going to look totally okay. And if I don't like it, it's okay too. I'll just go back and fix it. So that's what I love about this. Okay, what was the next thing I want to talk about? Oh, stitches that I didn't expect I would love so much. I really like that. This is a prime example, live on camera here. I didn't think I would like the French knots on here, but I actually do. And it all happened because I'm showing you, I'm demonstrating something for you, and I actually end up really liking this. So, but where I was going with this to begin with, the stitches I didn't think I would like so much, is a simple running stitch. To me, that is the most boring stitch. I don't know why, but it is, but I love it. And I'm very surprised how much I do love it, because like I said, it's a boring stitch, but it looks so cool. I mean, I can do back stitch. I can turn this running stitch into anything. You know, well, hello. Do I even have? Yeah, so here, to me, this looks more anthropology or more quilted or something like that. I love the look of that. I don't know what it is about it. And it's just, this stitch really surprised me how much I like it so much. Okay, sorry, I have to turn this back around. I sure wish I could zoom out more, but hopefully, yeah, I think you can see it. So, so I wanted to talk about that. And, oh, going back to the neutral thing, and I don't want to, beat a dead subject here, but I love neutrals, because another reason I love neutrals, or doing a neutral quilt, is because I don't think you can see this as well on camera, but in person, you can really see the texture. The white on the beige, you can really see it. Or to me, black and white would be too much contrast, but it's the subtle contrast that really makes the texture of the quilt stand out. Or even, like this, it just pops. And it's really cool because your eye doesn't gravitate towards color in the quilt and take your mind off of the pattern of maybe the patch or something like that in a traditional quilt. It instead it focuses more on, I think I'm gonna do line, then this Morse code thing, line, Morse code, okay. It focuses more on the quilt than it does, and your stitching, than it does the pattern that you're using on the quilt. So maybe you're, like my other quilt that I did for my husband, maybe, it's a plaid patch or whatever. Your eye's gonna focus on the plaid. It's not gonna really focus on the stitching. So doing it this way and keeping everything neutral, neutral colors or muted tones, your eye focuses more on the stitching. Like you're probably, as you're watching, you're not really paying attention to the muslin, probably, more than likely. You're focusing on my stitching. So that's that's another reason I like doing it this way, not only because it goes with any and everything, any and every holiday, any and every color scheme you have in your home, but it shows off your work more. And I like that. And I'm not going to worry about it being perfect because I want it to look authentic and handmade. I adore that look. I don't know why. And a lot of people do. Okay, what else was it? Oh, okay. Again, I'm talking about neutrals again. But, and I have nothing against, I'll probably do a real colorful one for my grandchildren, or whatever their colors are that they love. But for me, for my home, I want something that's classic and that will stay in style. I'm 56 years old, and I remember when avocado green and mustard were really, really in the 60s and 70s. And in the 80s, it was mauves and blues and stuff like that. Well, color trends tend to die out, and eventually they go back, but they tend to die out. So I keep everything neutral and classic, so it will always go with whatever year it's in or whatever. And primitive has been in style for, well, as long as it's been primitive. People eventually always go back to the older look and things like that. So I know that the style will be good. And quilts never go out. So regardless of what style you're doing for your quilt, they never go out. They never go out of style. They've always been something, especially if you're a stitcher, you know what I mean. They've always been something that people really want and love, and they're always meaningful, and they're always warm, and we're always going to need a blanket. So I keep mine neutral, so it will always go with whatever theme I'm in for the year, if that makes sense. So that's something else I wanted to talk about. And then let's see, just a couple more questions here. Slow stitching creates muscle memory. And what I mean by that is the more you do it, the more you stitch, just like embroidery or, for instance, making the French knots. The more you do, the more it becomes more consistent. Your tension becomes a lot more even. Everything's just a lot more consistent. So this builds muscle memory. So if you really want to work on your stitching, do something like this. I got this muslin blanket from Amazon for I think $18 or something like that. And, so it's not really any very expensive cost or anything. Now I would sell these, and then I would probably be more focused or not. It just depends on what the customer wants. But I would sell my quilts, But anyway, back to the muscle memory. It's really something that that just happens as, the more you quilt. So, and then let's see. The main thing I wanted to talk about. I choose, when I'm stitching, I choose stitches and quilts and things that have durability. Because as you know, I have 4 grandchildren. Well, 5. One's in the oven. One's the bun in the oven, I guess you call it. And I think he or she is due July 13th. So I think it's a girl, but I'll probably be wrong. But right now I have 3 grandsons and 1 granddaughter. So my granddaughter needs a little playmate. Anyway, so I let's start with a Morse code or a little dot here. So I make them real durable because my grandchildren love snuggling under my quilts. It's always a funny thing because my husband says, "You better not be in my using my quilt. That's my quilt." You know, he's teasing. You know, grandkids can do whatever they want in our house. And I just dropped my thread, but this video is almost over. So anyway, it's funny because, you know, he'll do that, and they just think it's hilarious. So they'll use it and they'll, you know, play with it, and they'll make little forts with the quilt. And I love that. I want these to be durable. And yeah, it's white, it's neutral, it's going to show stains. That's okay. I make these durable so they're machine washable. So like, you know, I wash everything in cold water. It's a lot better for your clothes. But I dry them. I wash my husband's blanket because we had some grandbabies who were very sick and stayed with us and cuddled with it. And, you know, runny noses and everything were part of it. And it washed perfectly. It did wonderful. And it's durable. And if, you know, something happens, I can fix it. But my embroidered tea towels for my kitchen, I make those durable. People, when they buy them, they say, "Oh," you know, or if I give them as a gift, "Oh, I'm scared to use it. My husband knows not to use this." And he comes in and they're white tea towels, you know. He comes in and from the oil on his hands and he wants to use it to wipe his hands. And I'm like, well, probably not oil, you know, from the car, but if he wants to use it, you know, for spaghetti sauce or whatever, you can get the stains out. It's okay. And they said, "Well, no, I'm just worried about the threads and all of that in the wash." No, you know, make your things durable. This thread's very durable. This cotton thread, and I would show you, but I just dropped it on the floor and it went rolling. So anyway, so that's why I make them durable, because I want them to be used. I don't want my stitching to just be looked at. I want it loved. And last thing I want to talk about is why handmade is meaningful in a disposable world. We have a very disposable world. We use plastics on everything, and you know, things used to be, milk used to come in glass bottles and things like that, and it was recycled, and you know, those were the days, huh? But anyway, I want everything, sorry, I'm at a weird angle here. I know y'all are trying to watch, but I want everything to be my own handprint, if that makes sense. So like, if somebody buys this quilt, for instance, this is my own personal quilt, but just say they bought it, say somebody offered me some money or whatever, I don't know, but say someone bought it and they know that, yeah, I can do another one like it, same pattern, same everything, but it's not going to be the same. It's going to be, you know, that knot's going to be different, or this line may be wider, further apart, because I'm not using a pattern. And that's what I love about handmade. You can buy quilts and things at Pottery Barn or wherever, you know, but that are, you know, factory made and things. But this, you know, by doing your own quilt and designs, you know that you're going to have something that's one of a kind and unique, and it can't be reproduced. It just can't. It can look like it, kind of, sort of, but it's not going to be the same. And I sign all my pieces. I have like a little tiny signature that I do. Even if it, you know, it's just for me, I still sign it and date it. And that way one day somebody will look back and say, this was handmade by some lady named Melissa or Omi, whatever I do, or some person named Lambert Cottage. And what a special treat that is, you know, to have that. So anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I love talking to y'all, and leave me some comments if you want me, what you want me to discuss, because I love to talk, as you can tell, and I love to talk and I love to stitch as I talk and stitch. So with that being, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and it will notify you. I'm very consistent with my videos. My shorts go out every Tuesday and Thursday. My long Flosstube videos go out every Friday. So, and if it doesn't, it's because something crazy has happened in my life, but I try to keep these going for y'all so y'all can have that consistency. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you, or I will talk to you next Friday. I will see you in a video next Tuesday. Bye-bye.